It was here on September 24, 2005, when Michelle Vanek and her hiking partner took on her first 14er, Mount of the Holy Cross. The two were separated near the summit, they thought, just for a little while. Michelle was never seen again.
It looked like an ordinary camera, scuffed, lost, probably forgotten. But when someone pulled the card and opened the photos, the story changed, because the last image wasn't a vacation shot, it was a clue. And in the cases you're about to see, a lost camera doesn't just preserve memories, it preserves the moment the truth was still inside the frame. The camera that captured a hiker's final moments. For nearly 19 years, one family had nothing solid. In 2005, Michelle Vanek disappeared while hiking Colorado's Mount of the Holy Cross. Search teams combed the mountain. Volunteers returned year after year. Nothing. Then in 2024, a volunteer search team found something buried where no one expected to look. Her belongings, her backpack, and a small silver camera. Inside were photos taken during her last hike, images that confirmed where she'd been and how far she'd gotten. It didn't answer every question, but it ended the biggest one. It changed the story from vanished to we finally know what happened. Because sometimes the last picture isn't dramatic. It's simply proof a person made it to a place and never came back from it. The SD card recovered from the Titan wreckage. This next one happened miles under the ocean. After the Titan submersible disaster, recovery teams retrieved an underwater camera from the wreck site. The housing was damaged, but the SD card survived. Investigators recovered stills and video, nothing from the final dive, but enough to confirm the equipment's timeline and what had been recorded. And that's the point. Even when the image doesn't show the disaster itself, a surviving photo can still become evidence, a piece of record that can't be rewritten after the fact. The lost camera found in the Snowy Mountain search. When a 23-year-old hiker vanished in Australia's Snowy Mountains, search crews were looking for anything: footprints, clothing, a campsite. Then they found something small but telling: a camera. It was proof he'd been alive long enough to stop, take photos, and keep moving. That detail changed the search, because it meant he wasn't immediately injured. He was traveling, and days later, he was found alive. In this case, the lost camera wasn't a mystery souvenir, it was a breadcrumb. The wedding film found after 57 years. Sometimes the lost camera isn't tied to danger. Sometimes it's tied to the only record of a life moment. In Wales, a couple got married in 1966. Their wedding was filmed, then the film disappeared. For 57 years, they assumed it was gone forever, until someone bought an old reel at a market and decided to check what was on it. Inside was a wedding, a bride walking in, guests smiling, a couple starting their life together, and the person watching realized something immediately: this wasn't their family. So they posted a clip online, and the moment it reached the right people, the calls started, because the couple in the film were still alive, and for the first time in half a century, they got to see their wedding day again. A lost camera didn't return a photo, it returned a moment the family thought had vanished forever. The camera found in a glacier, after decades. This one feels impossible until you remember what ice does. In the Alps, hikers found something half buried near melting glacier ice. Not bones, not gear, a camera, old, scratched, but sealed enough that someone took it in for recovery. And when the images were pulled from it, the story changed instantly, because the photos weren't random. They were travel shots, mountain trails, landmarks, and then a final sequence, a climb, a snowfield, a last location. It didn't solve everything on its own, but it gave investigators something they hadn't had in years: a confirmed timeline, a real route, a final place to search. That's what makes this different from lost photos returned. This camera didn't just preserve memories, it preserved a trail. And once the images were seen, the mystery wasn't just where did they go, it became, this is where it ended. And what they found in the next case wasn't hidden in ice, it was hiding in the real world, right in front of everyone. The image that changed a missing person case. This last one is the most unsettling, because the photo wasn't even taken on purpose. In Spain, a man was reported missing. Police had almost nothing. Then investigators noticed something strange. A Google Maps Street View car had driven past the area months earlier and accidentally photographed something investigators missed: a man loading a large white sack into a car trunk. It looked ordinary, until police realized the timing matched the disappearance. That single image became a clue, and once they had it, the entire investigation shifted, because now they didn't just have a missing person, they had a moment, a timestamp, a scene that couldn't be argued away. One accidental photo changed the story from gone to something happened here, and that's the point of every case in this video. A lost camera doesn't just store pictures, sometimes it stores the truth. A lost camera feels harmless until you open it, because photos don't just store memories, sometimes they store the last known truth. because the truth doesn't always disappear. Sometimes it just waits in storage. If you want more real stories like this, subscribe to Rapid Rank, and I'll see you in the next one.